Hello, Internet, and welcome once again to the always online multiplayer gaming podcast brought to you by MMORPG.com, your home for all things multiplayer related. I'm your host, Mike Byrne, as always, aka magicman. This is episode 436, and of course, just like always, we're doing the show live, twitch.tv/MMOBomb, excuse me, 1 p.m. Eastern on Fridays. We've got chat ready to chime in on all the topics we'll be discussing, and of course throw their weekly bombs and question of the week answers in when we get there. We've got a lot to cover today, lots of stuff. We've had all these different gaming shows all throughout the last 2 weeks here. We covered some of it last week when we did our Summer Game Fest review. We've got your winners and losers from that show in our question of the week comments. And then, of course, we had a few other shows as well. So we're going to get to some of them, not all of them. If you want full coverage of everything, head on over to MMOBomb.com. We've got articles and features on everything multiplayer that was announced. You can check that out. And while you're here on YouTube or listening on iTunes or Spotify, which you can take us on the go, throw a like and a subscribe on there. If you like what we do, it's easy, it's fast, it's cheap. In fact, it's free. And join us live sometime. Joining me today to go over all of it, Ms. Quinlan Bowers. What's up, Q?
Not a lot, actually. Happy that I've got a little break in some of those longer pieces.
Yeah. We had a bunch of previews and interviews kind of back to back there real quick. So we did get I mentioned this before, we did get the, Legends of Aria NFT interview. That's up. Q did a Fractured Online beta preview piece. That's up. So tons of great stuff there for you. And then, of course, we've got Mr. Anthony Jones. What's up, sir?
What's up? I'm doing pretty good. I'm here today to talk about the news because we got a lot to go through.
We do. But first, before we get to the news, we got a box. So obviously, I'll show you this. It's very easy to tell who the box came from because it's clearly labeled Neverwinter Dragon Slayer on it. That is their new module, getting some dragon love, including some not just new dragons, but some old dragons too. Tiamat getting a rework and some things like that. On the topic of Neverwinter, I'll be streaming with the team this coming Tuesday, so that's the 21st at 4 p.m. Eastern. There'll be a post on MMOBomb.com. I'll put it up Monday just as a reminder. We will, of course, be giving away things. We'll be hanging out with chat. As always, I'll be giving questions that chat has to the team. Politely worded questions, obviously. Your rude ones, I just ignore. Or sometimes, if they're a good question, I rephrase a little bit. So try to get you any answers. But we'll be checking out the game, doing some of the new Dragon Hunt features in the set, in the release. And then I think the following week, we're going to have another Star Trek Online stream and giveaway with Wilfredo, too. So the team over at what was Perfect World Entertainment, now Gearbox Publishing, going to be giving away a lot of stuff for you. So hang out with us. That'll be Tuesday, 4 p.m. Eastern. But let's see what's in the Dragon Slayer box. Lovely dragon art on the back. I do like that. There's a Tiamat there. I'm a big, I love dragons. Whether it's Neverwinter or Final Fantasy, I'm a dragon guy, Q, and I know you like them too, huh?
Yeah, I think it's just kind of one of those things when you're born in the year of the dragon.
There you go. So I got a little Neverwinter Dragon Slayer postcard. Fizban's Treasury of Dragons inspired module for Neverwinter is available now for PC, Xbox, PlayStation. Some information. Redeem the code below to acquire the Dragonborn Legend Pack, a pack filled with useful items on PC. And they give me a code for whatever is in the Dragonborn Legend Pack. We'll have to check that out in a little bit. So see what that's all about. And then, what is it? I guess this must be a little bookmark. That's what makes sense. It says, here's where you left off in your adventure, Dragon Slayer. And it's a wooden bookmark that has some art etched into it. Very snazzy. Very snazzy bookmark.
Cool.
That is cool. And then, of course, you need something to read if you're going to use a bookmark. And so what the team has supplied, let's see what this is after I get the packaging off of it. Stojan, born in the year of the dragon, too. It's actually a copy of said Fizban's Treasury of Dragons book. Neverwinter is the company. So we've got all of there's the Amethyst Dragon Lair. So the D&D Treasury of Dragons supplied to us by Neverwinter to celebrate Dragon Slayer, the Dragon Slayer pack, and a bookmark. Very cool box from the team over at Neverwinter. Thank you so much. And again, Tuesday, we'll be streaming with them so we can hang out. And we'll be giving away codes that are non-region specific, non-platform specific. So you can win some prizes. On that note, let's get started with the news. Well, gang, let's call this one comings and goings because we've got a few games, once again, on their way out, and then a ton of multiplayer goodness on their way in. Let's start off with the ones leaving. Q, apparently, Gamigo kind of still continues to prune the gaming bush, and we're losing another one of their titles, huh?
Yeah, but this one's more of a passive pruning, I guess. Like they just kind of let the branch fall off rather than actually took the shears to it. And it's because Echo of Soul, their license expires on July 15th, and they're just like, So
no desire to renew, I guess.
Or whatever. I don't know. Maybe, like maybe they just couldn't work out a deal or whatever. But they did say that there is a possibility that maybe in the future somebody else could pick it up. So it could be one of those things where the game, goes away for a while and then, shows back up when we're all not paying attention. So
of course, I mean, Anthony, the first thing I thought when they kind of left it out there, they were like, yeah, it's going away. Maybe somebody will pick it up. I'm like, well, shit, this is going to come back with NFTs.
Yeah.
Somebody's picking this up for NFTs.
Yeah. I mean, when I saw the news, I started thinking about Riders of Icarus and how their plates are earned now. And there's a lot of things in Echo of Soul that is very questionable. I saw a video recently where if you do a quest and you're done with it, you can basically teleport to, the quest giver and complete it and just keep going over and over and over. And it kind of has like that very microtransaction friendly aesthetic to it. And I could easily see it coming back in some type of like play to earn fashion. And that sucks because I feel like that's the only way it's going to be relevant again.
Yeah. Well,
it's not really.
I mean, relevant. I think you're being very generous with the word relevant there. Very, very generous. But it was the first thing I thought too. So I'm glad I wasn't alone. I was like, they kind of left this out there. Somebody's picking this up and they're going to blockchain the hell out of it.
Yeah, definitely.
Throw a bunch of pay to earn stuff in it. Square Enix. Square Enix closing an MMORPG.
I actually know about this one.
Is it Final Fantasy 11? Is it Final Fantasy 14? Is it Dragon Quest 10? Those are the only MMOs Square Enix has, right? No. It's none of those three. And if you're here in the West, you may remember this one. It survived about a year over here, but it's been just partying on in Japan. Well, finally, Fantasy Earth Zero will be closing in Japan, and that'll kill the entire game, being killed on September 28th. Weird little part about this, most games, like the one we talked about previously, when they announce their shutdown, they usually say something like, we're turning off our cash shop queue, and anybody that's bought anything in the last 30 days, whatever, we're going to go ahead and refund that now that we're announcing a closure. No, Anthony. Square wants you to know that the game's not going to be shut down until September 28th. So feel free to spend money all the way through late August.
Yeah, that is very, very bad. And
at the same time though, it's up to the player, right?
I mean,
I guess at the end of the day, yeah. But what if you didn't see the announcement? Because it's not like, this is going to be, I mean, I would imagine maybe something in the launcher, right? I would hope. I would hope. You said you know a bit about this one. I actually don't, Anthony. Was this any good? Like, did you try it when it was in the West here?
Yeah, I tried it when it was in the West. I do remember playing it. I don't remember much. I just knew that it had very Final Fantasy-esque type elements to it. But I mean, I'm pretty hazy on the details. I knew there was like a big, I want to say PvP space in this game. But I mean, I really didn't get into it too much. It kind of fell off the wayside for me, and I feel like it's more of a Eastern type game anyway.
Well,
And
yeah,
I feel like that might that might
that's
go
where
to
it
why.
survived.
Yeah. I think that might go to why they're still continuing to be like, hey, you can continue to pay, because I feel like there's a whole different demographic when it comes to that.
It carried a sub too for the longest time. For the longest time, it was pay to play in 2006 when it launched, and then it finally came out later. It was relaunched as free to play, hit about 1 million players in 2011, and then came to North America in May of 2010 and was gone in March of 2011. So it didn't even make it a full year here in North America. But if you are overseas and you are a player, get ready. That one is shutting down too. On to new things that are coming. And this one comes from the IGN Summer of Gaming. We've got a new sandbox MMORPG coming in 2023. Veteran devs that have worked on things like Warframe and Age of Conan. It's by Wolfpack Games, called Starkeepers, based on astrological myths. And you are a multi-dimensional being. And they did mention Q Eldritch threats, so I'm in. I'm in. Right there, I'm in. Steam early access of next year. What do you think? Did you get a peek at the trailer? Are you interested? It does have kind of that almost Genshin-y graphics style, that not quite cell animated, but not quite like cartoony World of Warcrafty.
I mean, the images make it look like they purposely write, instead of doing the smooth renders, it's actually got the frame kind of look to it, right? Like,
yeah.
So that's a little weird, I feel like. I mean, it might worth be poking around in a bit, but I don't know. I'd have to see.
Very heavy, obviously, sandbox, Anthony. Very heavy in the gathering and building resources and strongholds called Star Keeps and stuff like that. Are you more, like, does something like this interest you, or are you more a theme park, Final Fantasy 14, World of Warcraft, Elder Scrolls Online, MMORPG fan? Because sandbox really doesn't do it for me, but I do like the aesthetic of what I'm seeing so far. I do like that it's headed up by some industry vets that have done MMORPGs before. That usually helps a little bit, but I don't stick with the, hey, go gather 900 pieces of wood. Like V Rising, I dabble in it at this point. Played it heavy, then dabble in it. Where do you fall on that kind of like MMO spectrum?
I mean, I'm definitely more of a theme park MMO guy, but I will say that I enjoyed the sandbox MMOs for their kind of experimental take on this whole genre. And I believe this game in particular has a chance to kind of blend both sides a little bit more, because I like the kind of premise that it's set up on, and it can kind of go either way. I feel like it's going to be more sandbox heavy though, which might be a great thing, might not be a great thing. But I mean, me personally, like those type of games, I kind of go for it like you. Like I go heavy on it, and then eventually I kind of pull back.
Yeah.
So it kind of loses its effect on me over time.
And it is one of those where in true sandbox form, like free market economy, laws agreed on by the players. When you're building your Star Keeps, you're also building like traps and things like that to keep them to your fortress defended. So it is very, go in and do what you want-ish. we'll see. But they are pumping up like very big. A lot of this is focused on the community. Like you have to build the market, build the laws, build your forts, all of that stuff. So I don't know if we're going to see like a lot of story or narrative here besides like maybe background lore. They do talk about open world exploration, opposing factions, corrupted gods to battle in like seasonal epics as they're calling them. And they are talking about quest lines. So that you can actually harness star relics and learn new combat techniques and stuff like that. But like that doesn't scream MMORPG story to me, because I would put V Rising in that same category. It has an open world to explore. It has the crafting and the gathering. It has quest lines that advance your skills. So maybe it's more in that vein, although not as survival, since it is you want to be diplomatic and create laws and a free market economy and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think it'll probably fall into one of those areas where like I would dabble with it and then just kind of, like lose focus. And because
it's one of those
too
ones like you
much-
forgot you haven't logged in a day or two, and then you're like, nah, I'm so far behind, fuck it.
Well, no, not so much that as like there's no way for me to structure in a lot of those games. There's no way for me to mentally structure what I am doing so that I know exactly what I want done at any given time. Especially when it relies on player interaction. Like obviously playing MMOs, there's a certain level of player interaction no matter what, but a lot of what you do is not dictated by what the other players are doing
Right.
in a theme park or whatever. But in something like that where it's like, oh man, now we got to build something. It's just like, getting people together. It's like herding cats, and I lose interest really quickly.
We'll be keeping an eye on it. Obviously, we won't see much until next year when it starts rolling into initial testing and things like that. But then we have from Capcom, we've talked about this before, and I think it was both of you that were on the show when we talked about it last time. Dinosaurs falling from the skies in Capcom's Exoprimal. I'm skipping one. We will come back to it. Don't worry about it. In case you were watching the show notes there. Capcom's Exoprimal. We got a lot more information on this one. Capcom kind of pushing this one hard, which is I'm delighted to see, because I feel like this could have been one that it's Capcom. They may just like let it fall out there and then, oh, well, it didn't do well. Here's the stupid thing, Anthony. The more I see about this game, the more I'm like, I want to play this. Like, I want to play this. So it is PvP-ish, right? It's 5v5. You jump in with your squad, and another squad jumps in, but you're competing objectively. So it's like both teams are on the same mission. Who accomplishes the mission faster is kind of the point there. And then they do have like some Tyrannosaurus, Neo-Tyrannosaurus, and PvP components in other things that they haven't quite revealed yet. But I couldn't help but watching this intro, and they were talking about, you get into these mech suits and everything, and I was like, oh my god, it's Anthem with dinosaurs. Let me just jump in my javelin. Yeah, chat, I absolutely agree. Give me Dino Crisis instead, but I like this little snapshot, too, of them giving the 7-day vortex forecast like it's the weather. Here's where dinosaurs are going to be falling these days, guys. Stay away from these areas, and they send these teams in to, eradicate them. I don't know. It looks like cheesy, dumb fun to me. You do have tank, damage dealer, and support type classes, so it is very, like, hero-esque built. But, yeah, everything I see, I'm like, I want to play this a little more. I know it's going to be dumb, but I want to play this a little more.
Yeah. I'm of the same opinion. It looks dumb fun. It looks silly. It looks crazy too. Like I was looking at the trailer, and there's just so many like elements in play with this game. Like there's so many graphics. And I feel like that's gonna be one of the main issues, I would say, for like a Western audience, because over in the East, like that type of stuff is like very normal. But over here, I feel like there's just like if there's too much, people kind of get turned off by that. So
We have a very Overwatch-esque shield on the screen right
yeah.
now.
And I mean the abilities of like the different suits are pretty cool too. I like that facet of it, and I like the fact that it's very team based. I think that's very fun. I think that's very cool versus the whole 5v5 type thing. That's kind of like getting overplayed. I kind of like the idea of
Yeah.
objectives. So
I also feel, though, Q, that like somebody at Capcom was sitting around and they were like, Dying Light, that's doing well. Like all these Horde zombie mode games, Left 4 Dead series, that they're doing really well. We should make one. We don't really feel like bringing back Dead Rising yet. We did get news that Lollipop Chainsaw may be making a comeback, though. So let's do something like that. Anybody got ideas? And then like somebody's 9-year-old kid in the room was like, dinosaurs. And they were like, do it. Do it.
I mean, listen to the 9-year-old. It's probably the freshest idea around.
There are some cool visuals in here, like when all these damn raptors are like running down this skyscraper. I was like, that looks really freaking cool, actually. Then it's like Leviathan you're seeing on screen is like this AI that kind of guides you through everything. It's very HAL. It is third person, so you want to go shoot some dinos with me?
Maybe shoot some dinos.
I
Sounds a little fun.
I have a better chance of getting you into this because it's third person.
Yes. Oh, yeah, definitely. Way better chance of getting me into a third-person game for sure.
So I skipped one because I mentioned the Overwatch shield in the Exoprimal trailer. We have a ton of Overwatch 2 news. Like, it is just dumping out this week. Yesterday we posted, was it yesterday? No, it was actually 4 days ago now. Coming out on October 4th. Junker Queen will be in that launch, free-to-play PvE side, or I'm sorry, PvP side of things. And then Aspen today put up a huge article about just like everything you want to know about their development road plan for Overwatch 2, their payment model. They're looking at a new map, a new hero, a new mode once every 9 weeks. They laid out these plans. It's $40 if you want to get in. Who is that? Hello. Thanks for covering Starkeepers, guys. We're excited to share a lot more in the coming months. Glad you guys will be following our progress. Absolutely. You had me at the word Eldritch.
yeah, me too.
You had me at Eldritch. Swan1719. Thank you so much for hanging out in chat. Much appreciated. See? You never know who's going to be in chat, so make sure if you're watching on YouTube or iTunes, or listening on iTunes, you stop over sometime. Yes, we'll be watching Starkeepers. Good luck with the project. So if $40 gets you into the beta that's coming up, and then that's kind of their monetization queue, right? They're getting away from the loot boxes. They're dropping that. They're going to this more seasonal model where you'll get heroes and things like that, almost battle passy, stuff like that. Oh, does it say Aspen? Has anybody mentioned that Anthony's name tag says Aspen? Does it really? Oh, it's right on that one. Oh, it's right. It's wrong on the B-roll one. All right. Well, here. Let's, we're professionals here. Professionals. Burn, Q, Anthony, B-roll, done. Boom. Fixed. In the previous. No, he's right. And he's right in all the other ones. Yeah, it's just the B-roll one. And now it's fixed. It's fixed. Professionals. Thanks for letting me know. So lots of now here's the thing. I don't know how I feel about this whole Overwatch 2 thing because there's been, since it was basically announced, this undercurrent of, hey, this should probably have just been DLC for Overwatch. Like a lot of people feeling the PvE stuff should just be added as DLC to Overwatch. Then they reworked from 6v6 to 5v5. Then they're reworking heroes and now we see their new payment model, and farewell loot boxes, I don't care about that, but $40 seems like a little bit of a pricey tag of entry for the PvE side of things, and that'll get you the first season pass, and if they're doing, updates every 9 weeks, that's a pretty fast clip that, I just don't see any problem with Blizzard being able to maintain that at all. I don't know. I don't know if I'm entirely sold on Overwatch 2 yet. Are you?
I mean, No, because I don't want to give money to Blizzard in any
Well,
fashion.
yeah. Let's set that aside because I'm in the same boat there. Yes. Yeah.
I honestly haven't been. I mean, other than what I write, I haven't been looking at it that closely. I know that they made the various conversions and they were changing the 5v5 and all of that jazz and everything else, but um, I mean, I guess since I don't play Overwatch, I'm not sold
You
on
don't
it
care about the
anyway.
sequel.
Yeah, pretty much.
See, I do. I do. I dabble in Overwatch 2 with my kids. My kids play it a lot, and I dabble and have some matches with them occasionally. And again, setting the fact that it's Blizzard aside, and financially I'm not going to support them right now. If that weren't the case, I would probably end up getting this. But $40, and most of that being the seasons, that kind of spells that, like, if you want to stay up to date on things, Anthony, you're going to be shelling out some money on a pretty frequent clip rather than just go buy Overwatch like you did with the first one, right? And I know they're putting in those whole systems where, hey, as long as one of the players that you're in a party with has this content, you'll be able to, jump into that map, even if you didn't buy the season that map was released in. But I feel like they removed loot boxes. They made the PvP free to play, which is fantastic, but I almost feel like they kind of landed on a slightly more aggressive payment model until I see full details of it, at least from what I'm seeing so far.
Yeah, they are playing this very like safe because anytime I look at any like interviews or anything about changes in this game, it is very roundabout. Like there's just this whole spiel of like, we've been working hard and so on and so forth. And it just seems all very built up like this is gonna be some grand expansion when it's actually just a patch, really, if you look at it.
There's a
And a
lot of
lot of
people that think
people,
right along those lines with you, that
yeah,
this should have been a DLC patch for Overwatch.
yeah, and then like you were saying, this model it seems very more aggressive, honestly. Like you have to make this leap of faith to kind of believe in them and like wait for this roadmap to kind of play out. And it just seems like I don't know. It doesn't seem like a very good plan, and it's not very consumer friendly in my opinion. And I'm still waiting to hear some PvE content, but that's kind of a shot in the dark, really, because they haven't really said anything about that either.
Yeah, and that's the part
So
that you're paying for.
yeah,
That when you
yeah,
buy the seasons, that's, I mean, in addition to Battle Pass, that's the stuff that you're paying for, is that PvE
mhm.
content, because the PvP is free. I don't know.
So it's very
Anybody get
sketchy.
into beta yet? I did not, but I also didn't sign up, so I didn't expect to.
I didn't.
No, not going to
I
shell out $40 to guarantee beta access there, Anthony.
no, 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 no. I'm not even really an Overwatch person. I used to play Paladins and stuff like that, but never really Overwatch. So
I enjoyed Paladins until they broke it.
yeah,
Until
yeah.
they broke the hell out of it. They just busted it with that whole card system, and then they backtracked. What was it? Update? Somebody remind me. Update 63. If I remember that right, that is just disgusting.
I
Uh,
think that sounds right, actually.
if that sounds right, that was like the controversial one. Update 63. Two more multiplayer games coming, one next year, one later this year. Leatherface, Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Q, this is all you and me. We'll talk about the horror stuff. Let's go. Let's go. Texas Chainsaw Massacre multiplayer game coming next year. We've talked about that on the show before. Now we have, I'm not going to show the trailer. It is a Red Band trailer. There is nothing edited. So it's a little on the gruesome side, which I'm all for. It's Texas Chainsaw Massacre, but in the interest of YouTube algorithms, I will not show it as B-roll. If you are a fan of the Texas Chainsaw Massacre and looking forward to this game, then by all means, go check out the new trailer, updated, unrated gameplay trailer. It's pretty bloody. It's pretty gruesome. And if you liked Final Fantasy, good grief, Mike. If you liked Friday the 13th, the game, early, not, now, because it's totally different beast now, but peer-to-peer. If you liked what they did initially with that before they kind of had to halt all production of new stuff pending the lawsuits that were going on over the movie rights, you're probably going to like Texas Chainsaw Massacre. You know, it's got some of the same people involved in the project. I can't wait. It's going to be on PC, Steam, Xbox Game Pass, PlayStation 4, 5, Xbox One, Xbox Series S and X. So basically everywhere but the Nintendo Switch, which isn't surprising at all. Director of Communications Daniel Nixon at Gun Interactive said, "We're fortunate to be able to celebrate this news alongside the gameplay our community has been anxious to see. We hope that fans are as excited for the uncut trailer of the Texas Chainsaw Massacre as we are to show them." Honestly, I love Friday the 13th. I'm a huge horror movie buff. You had me at hello on this one. Hopefully, they stick to like the same monetization that Friday the 13th did, because I thought they did a very nice job with that one. Again, Gun Interactive kind of being involved in one way or another in both of these projects. So looking forward to it, but we got to wait, Q. 2023.
You gotta wait.
You're not interested at all?
No.
Why? It's that asymmetrical fun. I love that stuff.
I like horror movies. I like horror novels.
Right.
I hate horror games.
Why?
I don't enjoy them. And
is it being multiplayer and like 4v1, 5v1, that type of asymmetric play, or do you just like, you don't like Silent Hills, you don't like Resident Evils?
So some of those are fine, but it's just kind of I much prefer to get my horror in a movie or novel format than that. And also, honestly, when it comes to horror, I'm not a big fan of gore porn.
Yeah, I wouldn't call the original Texas Chainsaw that, but yeah, I see your point. Like it wasn't like Hostile or anything. When it came, it was a different era when that movie came out too.
Yeah, it's still kind of like I like more like psychological horror.
Anthony, your flickering camera occasionally is making me think like I'm blinking just my left eye sometimes when I look at the camera and I just see it out of the corner of my eye.
I'm so sorry.
I'm like, did I just wink at the camera?
I haven't noticed the flickering at all, so it might just be you.
No, because then it would be both of you. It would be happening on the Discord side. That, and Anthony said he's noticed outside and been trying to do something about it. So I know it's not me. It's not me. Anthony, are you going to play this with me then, since Q's punking out?
You know, hey, I'll play it because I do enjoy, just doing some mindless fun in these type of games. And it's like I hope that they release it in the summer of next year or something like that, because people in the comments were saying, this is like a good summer fun game
absolutely
over the summer that, just play with randoms and just have fun. And really these type of games, they benefit from having those random games anyway, because like the voice chat would kind of just go crazy over this type of stuff anyway. So yeah, I'll definitely try it. It's definitely a little bit more, I would say, darker and a little bit more detailed than Friday the 13th, which I like as well. And I want to know how far they're going to go with like respecting the source material of the films and so on and so forth.
They were really good on Friday the 13th. I'll tell you that. They were really good there. My family and I played quite a bit of that game. Finally, in the comings and goings, Resident Evil ReVerse is actually a thing. Anthony had written up the rumor a little while ago that we were finally going to see this. This is the multiplayer Resident Evil mode that was supposed to come out when The Village launched. There was a code in your physical copies of The Village for it. I redeemed mine, and then we never saw the game. It is actually coming out now. We will see Resident Evil ReVerse, and I guess technically, they still made it. It comes with the release of Resident Evil Village. It's just the gold edition. The gold edition. When that game comes out on October 28th, ReVerse will come out as well. If you have codes for this from your physical edition, you can go ahead and redeem them now so that you get the ReVerse game for free. Or you can just don't lose it and redeem it later in October when it comes out. So, yeah. Online multiplayer only. You will need PlayStation Plus membership or an Xbox Gold membership if you want to play on the consoles. So I'm kind of looking forward to this one just to check it out. But honestly, I've just been so beaten up over the years by my love for Resident Evil when it comes to multiplayer. Like, I absolutely love the single-player games, but the multiplayer ones have just, like, disappointed after disappointed after disappointed me. So I'm not incredibly pumped, Anthony. I'm a little
Yeah,
reserved on this one.
yeah, the Resident Evil multiplayer type games, they're very gamey in the sense of that they're not really something you would see yourself playing over time because it's not like really refined enough. It feels very experimental. I think about Mercenaries and how it's very niche and this kind of horde-esque type multiplayer game. And I feel like ReVerse kind of like itches that kind of field of like, hey, what is Resident Evil feels multiplayer? And I don't know. I just have to really, I feel like we have to play it first to really know. And it's been, absent for a long time now. So kind of people's expectations of it has kind of gone away. So maybe that can help with like, set expectations for this game because I don't think anybody really expects this game to be, incredible. They expect it probably to be like a, a little fun thing to do to just really try out.
I don't know. There might be enough people that are like me. They're like, do you remember Umbrella Corps? Like, do you,
Umbrella Corps.
do
I
you
barely remember that one. Barely.
even people that remember it are trying not to remember it. So I don't know. I mean, I get it for free. So, of course, we'll check it out here.
Yeah, it's for free. So, check it out.
Because I already own the Village. All right, now let's move on to some industry news. Q, Microsoft and the Communication Workers of America, CWA union, have reached an agreement. What's going on here?
I mean, it's actually kind of good news, right?
Yeah.
So for those who don't follow it or don't remember, the CWA is the organization that the union organization that Raven Software voted to, put to join.
Yeah, well, they assisted them, and now I think they call themselves GWA, right? The Game Workers of America.
Right.
But CWA was the body that was assisting them, yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, and the ones that Blizzard fought so freaking hard to not have them, be part of, basically. So there was that whole contention. And we also remember that Blizzard may or may not be bought by Microsoft, depending upon what, various governments and everybody else actually decide. But it looks like it's looking pretty good, at least as far as this is going, because they've reached this agreement with the CWA to make it to where they can do bargaining agreements and stuff like that and allow people to unionize and everything else. And one of the first things that they're going to do it with is the Blizzard employees once they get them into their little fold.
Yeah, it's called a neutrality agreement. And basically it says, all right, look, we're not going to interfere in your right to have a pathway for Activision Blizzard employees to exercise their rights to unionize and collectively bargain if they want to. And they did lay out some specific steps, Anthony. So first, Microsoft will take a neutral approach when employees covered by the agreement express interest in joining a union. So none of that union busting, behavior. Second, covered employees will be able to easily exercise their right to communicate with other employees and union reps about union membership in a way that encourages information sharing and avoids any business disruptions. Third, employees will have access to an innovative technology-supported and streamlined process for choosing whether or not they want to join a union, so making it easy to accept or decline union representation. Fourth, employees can maintain confidentiality and privacy of that choice if they wish. Fifth, if a disagreement arises between the CWA and Microsoft, under the agreement, the two organizations will work together promptly to reach an agreement and will turn to an expedited arbitration process if they cannot. Now, it should be noted that as far as Activision is concerned, this has no bearing on their workforce as of right now. As Q said, this doesn't do anything for Activision staff until the Microsoft purchase, if it completes. So it's very, very the key moment. A key moment, right? A big company like Microsoft. I wonder, though, like, if you're a Microsoft employee right now, like, did you ever, like, hey, man, We talked about trying to do unions for years, and you were union busting and and doing all these things. And now all of a sudden you're like, welcome to the fold. We're going to be totally neutral about you, which is the way you just should have been from the onset.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I feel like we're in this age in the industry where there's acquisitions happening. There's this big change, this push for some type of like human decency in the
Yeah,
workplace.
right.
And I don't know. I feel like everyone's kind of like wanting to be more, union friendly. Hey, we got your back and stuff like that. But I don't really. I mean, the agreement is nice. This neutrality is nice, but I feel like at the end of the day, I mean, corporations. There's going to be some level of like, hey, you can do this, but hey, you might get slapped on the hand in the future when it comes to financials or benefits or whatever. And I don't know.
So you're more, let me get this straight. You seem to be more of a, let me see you walk the walk.
Yeah, I want to see because Microsoft has kind of been this good light, and not to say that they're clean, but they kind of have gone in this route of like trying to be more consumer friendly. But I have yet to really see a lot of push in the workplace on their front.
Yeah, I mean, they even have their own
Right.
allegations that have been coming out a little more recently to kind of quash that. Hey, they're not the good guys taking over Activision Blizzard. It's toxic here, too.
Yeah, so I mean, it's a very precarious situation to be in, and I just want to see them. I mean, I hope that they kind of commit to this agreement and there isn't any discrepancies and there's no pullback in the future if the acquisition goes through. So,
In other industry news, we're going to call this one totally self-inflicted error.
yeah.
And we're going to just call this one totally self-inflicted wound. 343 Industries, you might know them better as the Halo team. They were trying to do something special for Juneteenth. If you don't know what that is, in the United States here, that is a celebration of the emancipation of African Americans from slavery. Juneteenth is the name of the holiday itself. So they wanted to do something in-game to commemorate that. Cool. So they released a skin that kind of has what are the adopted colors of the Juneteenth holiday, and that'd be red, black, green, and yellow on it. And the cosmetic was called Bonobo. And if you don't see anything wrong so far, it's probably because you don't know what Bonobo means. I didn't. But fortunately, some Redditors and others online did. It's actually a species of an ape. And here's where I'm just going to hang my head for a few seconds, because this is absolutely a self-inflicted wound. If you can't see the problems with this, I don't know what to tell you, okay? Derogatory and racist speak would kind of mesh this holiday and that particular word, they wouldn't fit together. They don't go together. Let's leave it at that. They do not go together. So something honoring African Americans with that name, nah. You gotta do something a little different. So what they do? Well, they real quickly changed the name on it to Freedom. And then, of course, the follow-up questions come, Anthony, right? Which, how did that get named that to begin with? How was that put in there to begin with? Well, Bonnie Ross, founder of 343, has a statement saying, "We were made aware of a palette option for our Juneteenth emblem that contained a term that was offensive and hurtful. The team immediately addressed this issue via an update. We are a studio and franchise that is committed to inclusivity, where everyone is welcome and supported to be their true self. On behalf of 343, I apologize for making a celebrated moment a hurtful one." Well, that doesn't address how'd that get in there. So, senior community manager John, and I'm going to butcher this pronunciation, I apologize, John Janiszek from 343, community manager, also took to Twitter and said, "We strive to create diverse and inclusive gaming communities. While the original name refers to an internal tool set, it was not intended to be applied to this content, and we recognize the harm it may have caused." Which some people, Anthony, immediately said, really? Because if that's the name of an internal tool set, how is this? And the system rejected whatever you had named it and dumped its own toolset name on the property until you could rename it. How has this never happened before? How has this never happened before?
It's a very strange situation because if you decide to, I mean, for example, like Pride Month, if you decide to represent in some form or fashion, there needs to be some special care for that. That you need to make sure that everything checks out. And if there is any issues with it, then don't do it at all. Because you're gonna look very bad in this light. And the whole, PR speak from the higher ups. I mean, generally I believe that there wasn't any malice with that. But at the same time, the people who were checking it, on the ground floor, I feel like there was like some type of like not no particular care there.
Right.
And I feel like that's what happened and that's how I got out there.
Yeah, and if you are naming the back end stuff,
Yeah.
generic animal names, that fine. I put in placeholder names for software that I develop all the time. We all do that. It's
Right.
like, I'm going to use cars today, right? So they're all different cars. And if they were using animals, then one, they knew that this was a type of animal, and somebody somewhere knew specifically that it was an ape. And so somebody, whether you knew or not, I didn't. Fine. Maybe the person building it didn't, but somebody does. And that's why you have teams that you go over this stuff before it releases. This wasn't a hard catch.
The people using it had to know because somebody posted a picture of the tool set, and the icon is the face of an ape.
Oh my God, I didn't know that.
Like if you click through to the Twitter, it's right there. The icon is the face of an angry looking ape. So
I mean, they did remove it and fix it, but the fact that it slipped through is just embarrassing. It's just absolutely embarrassing.
And like I said, it goes back to, quality assurance on making sure that things that are sensitive, that are going out, is checked, especially by the higher ups. Because if I'm a higher up and something like that is going out and we're representing, I want to know what my company is representing. So it really
here's
falls
the
on them
other
heavily.
thing too. Like, I don't understand. So mistakes happen, right? And I
Right.
tend to agree with you, Anthony, that this is an embarrassing mistake, but a mistake nonetheless. I don't believe, I'm with you, that there was no malicious, racist intent behind it. I totally believe that. But I just, like, Q, when you do stuff like this that is a celebration that is has a racial undertone to it, or we're seeing a lot of Pride Month stuff going on right now, stuff too. When you do those different celebrations of what are sensitive demographics, sensitive holidays, sensitive race topics, sensitive lifestyle topics, like those ones probably deserve an extra pass through everything before you publish it, right? Before like even just like your regular, hey, here's the Christmas holiday event is back in 14. Like those ones you probably have maybe, hey, I don't know, a diverse team that looks at these things before they go out, right?
I mean, you would think that would be the case, but considering how often this kind of stuff happens, like you were mentioning Pride, and this wasn't in the gaming industry. This was Burger King again. Actually, one of the Burger Kings decided that they were going to do something really special for Pride Month, and so they made a Pride Whopper that instead of just having like the pretty packaging or whatever, like it did years ago,
Right.
it was either when you get the Whopper, it either has two top buns or two bottom buns. And like I don't know if because it was like, a non-English speaking European country, they just didn't know like some of the meaning there or something, but it was just kind of like, but this is also the same company, right, that like a couple of years ago went, posted for Women's Day, women belong in the kitchen, and got them. So it's
Oh,
like it's that kind of.
ooh.
I mean, they meant something nicer, but because of the way you go about it, it just comes out really bad. And it's the same situation here, where you're not checking what you're putting out first,
It
and
isn't
then
hard, but you to be fair, you have to have the diverse staff, right? Like,
yes,
so insight behind the scenes. This has never happened on a racial front, but there have been sensitive gaming topics that we have covered, whether they be, sexual related with harassment issues, whether it's Blizzard, Riot, Ubisoft, like stuff like that. And if I'm writing certain things, I have a stopgap in my head where it's like, okay, I'm done. Q, as a woman, can you read this, please? Before we publish this, can you read this, please? Is there anything that I am not wording sensitively the way I should? Is there anything that I am oversimplifying or undersimplifying? Can you give it that pass? Now, it's never happened on a racial front, but you can bet your ass, Anthony, that if I'm the one making the Juneteenth emblem and you are on my team, I'm going to be like, cool, I am totally done. Anthony, as a black dude, could you come over and take a look at this for me and make sure I haven't done anything that I'm just totally unaware of? Like,
That's all it takes.
but you got to have that diversity on your team to begin with, I guess.
I mean, yeah, but I
well,
mean,
and a willingness to ask questions too.
yeah,
Yeah,
you
yeah.
gotta be comfortable doing that because I mean, you gotta be comfortable. If you're gonna represent something, you gotta first be comfortable to represent. You can't just virtue signal that hey, I'm behind this culture or these people or this movement. Like you gotta be comfortable with that. You gotta ask the questions and you gotta make sure you get it right. And that's what it really comes down to. Whether having those type of people on your team is really making the research to make sure that everything checks. So I mean, I definitely agree with that as well.
Yeah, that's absolutely right, Takal. To represent something, you have to understand it or listen to people who do understand it.
Absolutely.
Hey, good news today, though, guys. Activision Blizzard didn't do anything wrong. That's good news. That all that sexual harassment, culture of abuse, culture of discrimination, gender harassment, none of that happened. Totally, like state of California's lawsuit got it wrong. DFEH and the $18 million settlement totally got it wrong. Accusations and lawsuits against Bobby Kotick, totally false. None of that happened. This is cited by a report that came out from, hold on, let me check the source here real quick. Activision Blizzard.
It was all a fever dream. That's it.
We have investigated ourselves and found no wrongdoing.
We are not guilty.
Totally innocent. I'm holding the knife. My hands are bloody. I have performed an investigation, though. I clearly did not kill Q. I clearly did not kill. I'm standing over her body, but it totally wasn't me. I've investigated, police. You can go ahead and just close this one. Activision Blizzard concluded that, quote, there is no evidence to suggest the company's senior executives ever intentionally ignored or attempted to downplay the instances of gender harassment that occurred and were reported. Contrary to many of the allegations, the board and its external advisors have determined that there's no evidence to suggest that Activision Blizzard's senior executives ever intentionally ignored or attempted to downplay the instances of gender harassment that occurred and were reported. There were some substantiated instances of gender harassment, but those unfortunate circumstances don't mean the board and leaders were aware and tolerated it, and that there is no indication there is a systemic issue with harassment, discrimination, or retaliation. Whew. We got the all clear, boys. All those employees running and walking out and staging walkouts, they were wrong. They were wrong. What this report doesn't say is exactly how they investigated this, how many people they interviewed, who they interviewed, and for some odd reason, it only goes back 5 years.
I guess that's all you need to know. Like,
Yeah, I
if it
guess
didn't
that's
happen within the last 5 years, it does not matter at all.
Does not matter.
Cleared themselves of wrongdoing. Just done.
I mean, I think it's very interesting that they decided to even do this, because it's like you're at this point now where you either admit to the wrongdoing or you continue to lie, because everyone's not stupid. We're not stupid. We got multiple sources. I mean, it's either we believe the multiple people or we believe the corporation itself investigating itself. I mean,
yeah, and to be clear,
we're-
though, I mean, they're not saying nothing happened, right? They are
Yeah, they're
saying
not saying
they're
nothing
just
happened.
their piece of this investigation, which rightfully I think they should have done, was to say, is this a leadership hiding problem? That's the piece that they were investigating, right?
Except the people investigating the leadership in need of investigation
Was part of the
were,
damn leadership, yeah.
yeah, so
like,
it's
like,
contradicting.
Oh,
Like,
well, they
if
did
they
have
were
some external
investigating-
advisors, Q. They did have some external advisors.
if they were investigating subordinates, like accusations came up, from below, hey, this
Right.
team leader here did stuff, right? And then the board went, okay, well, we need to look into that because, then yes, that would make sense to me. The board investigating a team leader further down the line, but the board and the CEO investigating accusations against the board and the CEO.
Yeah, and I guess
even
part
with
of that,
outside help.
yeah, part of that would be people under them, right? Executive leaders that aren't on the board. But in this case, we know for a fact that at minimum, it would also include Bobby Kotick, who is on the board. If no other board members are part of who they're investigating, we know there's at least one that is part of that investigation. Like, I get why they had to do it, but I also feel like they might have been in a no-win scenario with this one, right? If you launch that investigation and you legitimately, let's say it's totally legit, what the piece that they were investigating, they just did not find corroborating evidence. And maybe they did go as far back as they possibly could with the paper trail. Like let's put all the best of intentions on the investigation. That only comes out two ways. One, you're guilty of exactly what you're being accused of, and shit, that's going to suck when you publish that report. Or you're not guilty of it, but nobody's going to believe you because you've been full of crap for the last decade and a half, if not longer. So it's like, it's the Kobayashi Maru, Q.
It is. You were right. It is. This is a no-win situation, which means you just have to do something really super drastic and completely dangerous in order to get out of it. But yeah, I mean, it's just like I said, the entire thing is completely sketchy and just kind of weird. And I don't know. Like, maybe you just don't put out the report at
That's
all.
even worse, isn't it? Like, if
I don't know.
if the public knows you did this investigation and no report never comes from it.
That's true.
Oh yeah. I mean, I feel like a third party should have did it, honestly. But
Yeah,
I mean,
it should have 100% just been.
they're the type to buy them out. So I mean, I don't know.
Tori said the lighting on Anthony makes him look like he's in a home video horror. I do feel like this is very like Unfriended or Scream. Like we're gonna see somebody creep up behind him, and we're gonna be like, Anthony, turn around! But all of a sudden, his Discord will be muted, and he won't be able to hear us.
The cat
it's
is
like cat
listening, was
Leah.
there at the beginning.
My cat's gonna come up behind me.
Game Pass, before we head over the weekly bombs, Game Pass, Xbox and PC Game Pass are getting a ton of dope stuff. We put up a full list of everything that's coming over the next 12 months. Even the single-player titles, we included them all, but Q went through and linked up all the multiplayer ones for you as well, so you can go to our game pages and rate them. All types of stuff. But I want to point out specifically, League of Legends, Riot Games, and Microsoft have entered into a partnership where League of Legends, if you are a Game Pass subscriber, you're going to get all the champions for free. In Valorant, you're going to get all their agents for free. There's other stuff in other games, Legends of Runeterra, access to Wild Rift stuff, and things like that. But on the heavy multiplayer side, all League of Legends champs, all Valorant agents for free. And then Iron Gate AB is going to be launching Valheim on the Xbox platforms, including the Xbox Game Pass. So there is a ton of stuff. Ton of sweet stuff. I mean, this is pretty dope coming to Game Pass. If you like League of Legends, there you go. Every damn hero. If you like Valorant, every damn agent. That's hundreds of dollars in some cases, depending on what you may need to pick up. We're going to ask, though, in the question of the week, what your ultimate opinion is on Game Pass now that you see their plans for the next 12 months. Let's slide over, though, and finish up with the weekly bombs. Q, you're up.
I'm gonna give a bomb to the Tennant fandom on Twitter, who's basically been feeding me pictures of David Tennant filming the 60th anniversary Doctor Who special.
Yay! I'm gonna also give a bomb this week to Turbo Golf Racing second beta running and launching on August 4th. Some Turbo Golf Racing. That's some goodness for me. Go ahead, Anthony. Oh man, now you're like really now things got really dark in there. Did one of your lights just go out or something? There we go.
Sorry. There you go. I want to give it the bomb. Actually, I mean, I kind of want to give two, but
go for it.
You know, I want to give it the bomb to the Capcom and the Final Fantasy VII remake showcase.
Yeah,
I felt like both of them were really good and very rewarding to the player base. I mean, in the case of the Final Fantasy VII thing, I mean, fans over there, they're going to be going crazy, but like I feel like Square Enix's like mainline titles for like next year are pretty damn strong. And the whole Resident Evil stuff is really cool too. And I just feel like, you know, it's a good time to be a fan for both of those type franchises. And like we just got I forget the game, Dragon's Dogma 2 that came out too. I mean, a lot of people don't know that game, but it's coming out as well. So
I'm super excited about that. Like all the game news that's been going around. Honestly, the Square Enix showcase for Final Fantasy VII's 25th anniversary and the Dragon's Dogma sequel, those were like the best ones for me, and they were also the shortest.
Yeah,
they were like, here's a 10-minute video stream. Go watch it.
Yeah, it was very good.
From chat, we've got Tori the Chicken saying, A-bomb to University for sucking, D-bomb to me for completing it this week. Well, congratulations.
Congrats.
To Cal saying, A-bomb to Wilfredo, started off with a nice new segment, then vanished. Don't gaslight me like that. No, he hasn't vanished. That segment is probably going to be the Wilfredo Plays, you know, is it worth playing? That's going to be like a once-a-month thing because he is really diving into the games if it's something that he doesn't have a ton of time with. So Lotro is the next one that's queuing up. It should be up in a couple of weeks. He didn't go anywhere. You haven't been gaslit. From YouTube or the site, make sure you're giving me your weekly bombs and your question of the week answers. If you don't put them on YouTube or on mmobomb.com, I'm going to cut these segments. Show will be a lot shorter. From Box says, given a bomb to the OTK Games Expo this week, even if you don't care for the members, letting indie devs get an event like that for them was especially entertaining, especially with the dev interviews and watching Asmon play and fail multiple times in Crowsworn and the peak moment for the whole event. Hope they could do more shows like it because I've actually found the most games so far that I've been interested in compared to the rest of the Expo shows this weekend so far. Yeah, we talked about a couple OTK titles on last week's show when we were talking Summer Game Fest. Yeah, I mean, there were a couple weird ones that I was like, why is this here? It's like been launched for 2 years now. But I did see a lot of indie stuff that I am kind of interested in too as well. Go ahead, Q.
Kevin Sharp, A-bomb to myself for not watching the Summer Game Fest content to have a pick for question of the week. I'm with Aspen, meh to the whole deal.
Meh.
That's fair.
Question of the week last week, what company or game won? Oh, I know what gas means, but yeah, thanks. I grew up in a terrible neighborhood. I know the slang. What game or company won Summer Game Fest for you? Why? Kitsaruha says, question of the week. I'm hesitant about Best of the Show because MiHoYo hasn't even gotten Genshin Impact out for the Switch yet and showed 2 new games. But I have to give it to Zenless Zone Zero for looking amazing. For Q2, my second question of the week, which was, what do you boot up with on a new rig day one when you build one? For question 2, anything Borderlands. Not big on FPS, but I always loved that series. Lastly, to Bomb for always getting to enjoy seeing the cast, even though I never get to catch it live. You're always welcome to when you are able to. Yeah, I misread gaslighting in your comment because it applied to what you were saying. Go ahead, Q.
Kevin Shark, question of the week. Whenever I have a new rig lately, I usually load up Elder Scrolls Online of late. Before it was out, my new rigs were tested on Rift and Arcade.
Yeah, I mean, Elder Scrolls Online's a pretty good one to go ahead and pump in there. Mad Martha adding a da-bomb late. Da-bomb to Mike for correctly expecting to see Starfield content despite me being all cynical and laughing at him for being positive. Yeah, but then you can turn around and laugh because there was a time that I did think we would see it in 2022. So you can laugh at me for that one. Go ahead, Anthony.
Bucks. Their first answer for the question of the week is, honestly, the Summer Games Fest overall has been kind of weak. There's been maybe 1 or 2 games in each show so far I've had any interest in. If I had to pick a single game personally, it would be Gungrave Gore. Good choice. I actually didn't know it was coming to PC since it's only been shown on the PlayStation channel so far. So sign me up for that. And their second answer is going to be, I've been on the current rig for a good 5 or 6 years now, but whenever I've added new parts to upgrade, my go-to game for testing settings would be Skyrim, usually vanilla at first, then I slowly switch on mods to see how far I can push the rig to go.
What's your go-to title to test the new rig you build, Anthony?
Ooh, that is a good question. I would say, oof.
The first one, like, I'm talking about not to see if things work. I'm talking about the first game you just sit and the new rig's done and you sit and you just relax and play a game. What is it?
Oh, hey, I'll go to my oldie but goodie. I'll go to Final Fantasy 12. I'll play that up. I'll boot up. Yeah, I'll probably boot up that one.
Get a little Zodiac Age in.
Yeah, a little Zodiac Age in. Or, I mean, a lot of games I play are not really like high demand. I mean, I play like Darkest Dungeon and stuff like that. So I'm very roguelike-esque type person.
Q, you just recently did a build. What was the first relaxing, I'm going to just game for a little while? Was it 14?
I did not do a build. I bought a laptop.
Oh, well, yeah. Well, you got a new computer is what the point.
I think at that time, because it's actually been a while now, believe it or not. At that time, it was probably Genshin Impact I was playing the most.
Oh, there you go. Yeah. Question of the week this week, everybody. What's your personal review of Game Pass? We've had it for a while now. You see what's coming over the next 12 months. Is it a good thing or is it a bad thing? Is it good for gamers? Is it good for the dev teams behind the games? What's your assessment of Xbox Game Pass? Let us know in the comments below. Don't forget your weekly bombs while you're there. Dub-bomb for something good, A-bomb for something bad in the world of gaming or just life in general. Or if you have a question for the panel, throw it on down there and I'll bring it to next week's show. Until then, Anthony, where can everybody find you?
You can find me on Twitter at AntJonesWriter. Short and sweet.
Q.
On Twitter at Quentlin, although currently I'm just commenting on David Tennant picks, so...
I'm Mike Byrne. You can follow me right there, magicman1, but more importantly, follow at MMOBomb on Twitter, and you'll know every article, first look, giveaway, podcast, everything we put up. Until next time, gang, stay safe, and we'll see you on the servers.